This is the Console Killer, and welcome to my commentary version of my Double Dragon 1 credit run. I figured I'd try to bang out a few of these games with commentary. I did these playthroughs, over the last year or so that I've had the channel up. So I just got the mic, so I figured I'd try to do some commentary on these videos and, at least some of them. I mean, I'm not going to be able to go back and do all of them. It wouldn't be worth doing, but I'll try to go back on some of the good ones and do some commentary on them. But yeah, for this, really the main thing in this playthrough is abusing the elbow move, and crowd control pretty much. That's really all it is. I start out initially with doing a variety of moves just so it'll be a little bit more interesting than just using the elbow. But by the third stage, I start to pretty much go into using the elbow exclusively because, at that point, if I start fucking around too much, it's strange, this game. I never figured it out, but when I start kicking and punching guys, it seems kind of random, if I'm going to get the first hit or not. It kind of feels like I trade blows with them, and it just doesn't feel, I don't know, I never got used to doing it consistently. But really the hard part about this run is the final stage. I didn't have too much trouble getting to the last stage with the elbow, but, doing it on one credit is tough in the final stage because on the final stage you have all these traps in there. They're really unpredictable. I still don't really understand them. But I got kind of lucky with the traps. I still couldn't give any good advice really on how to avoid them, but to just do what I did in the video and maybe you'll have the same result. So I'll try to explain it when I get there. But yeah, that's the main issue. And the crowd control can be pretty challenging too on the last level because you have small spaces to work with at some points, especially with the two of Bobos in the small area. But yeah, up until then it's pretty, it's pretty easy if you use the elbow heavily. It's not really, it shouldn't be too hard to get to the final level without wasting a credit. It didn't take me too long. I did play the game on and off over the years trying to get one credit, but not really heavily. And then recently I gave it some more attempts and I was able to get it. In this area, I try to trick some of the enemies to falling off. See, if you move down, they usually try to follow you, so you can make guys jump off the ledges, which is useful. Save you a little time. A lot of times I'll do a jump kick or a headbutt accidentally because of all the slowdown. And sometimes if you don't hit the two buttons for the elbow, at the exact time, you'll end up doing something else, like maybe a jump kick or something like that, or maybe a regular punch. I don't remember exactly, but sometimes the wrong move will come out. This was a game that had a big impact on me though, because it was one of the early arcade games that I saw. I guess maybe in '87 or '88 I saw it. I was super impressed by it because, back then I only had the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, and the visuals on this, blew that away. So the arcades were always very impressive until later on when consoles started to catch up with the arcades. Maybe during the PlayStation era they were starting to catch up, and by Dreamcast they were definitely pretty much identical. But prior to that, arcades used to be amazing because you didn't have games that looked like that at all. And I don't know, the whole presentation, the hits and everything, the music, everything this game is just very memorable to me for whatever reason. So when I went to the bowling alley, sometimes I would see it, and I would usually only have, I'd be lucky if I had a few coins or whatever, but I would try to play it a little bit. I couldn't get far at all on a few coins. But I'd watch the attract mode, I was obsessed with the game. So it was great to be able to actually play it at home on MAME. You know. And with the elbow, I knew it wasn't too bad to do a 1 credit run. It was just, the end is where I always had problems. I'd always get fucked over by the traps. Because they're like 1 or 2 hit kills depending on which traps. So, and if you get hit once, you usually get hit a second time and killed anyway. So it's pretty much like a 1 hit kill. If those walls that come out hit you, they pretty much, can destroy you. But yeah, I figured this would be an easy one to do commentary on, so I figured I'd bang it out. It's only a 20-minute game. I may do Streets of Rage 3 next, and maybe I'll do a commentary on that. That's the hardest beat 'em up that I've beat. So, that one is definitely worthy of some commentary, I think. So I may do that. I may even do some commentary on some of the easy games that I beat, because, I beat a variety of games, hard and easy games. So, I may go back and just do commentary, just to have some commentary for the playthroughs, because some people may actually get something out of that. And if you learn anything from them, or if you enjoy the commentary, let me know, because if you beat the game on 1 credit, or if you're making progress, feel free to tell me your progress in the comments. I'm definitely interested in all of that. That's why I put this shit out here. I'm passionate about this kind of shit, so I enjoy having conversations about it. I always believe in trying to learn more, no matter how good you are at something. No matter how good you are at games, I think you can always get better and you can always learn more. Like as an example, my Twitch skill was pretty good, even 10 years ago, as far as playing a first-person game or being able to react very fast. That was always pretty strong for me for a while, but I struggled on a lot of games and harder modes though, because I would do the same shit over and over again. I would just grind. I would grind the same technique out for hours until I got it to work. And it was usually not the most efficient way at all to do something, but I would just do it until it got through. And that stubbornness definitely made me way less adaptable. So now at this point I go through games a lot faster now, and hard mode's much faster, and that's because a big part of it is because I'm a lot more adaptable now. I switch up my techniques and I try different things. I don't wait, super long before I try a different technique. And that things like that. It's small shit, but when you get out of that comfort zone and start trying different things, you can progress a lot faster. So I always that's something I learned, and that's been useful for me. But yeah, I think I used the pit to take out one of those guys, and you use a knife on this guy. It works well. The next area is a little dangerous with the bridge. You got to be careful. The jumping is shitty in this game. This is a game that shouldn't have any kind of platforming, but it does. Luckily, this is really the only platforming segment. So for this, you pretty much you can just go to the edge and press jump while holding forward, and I think you'll jump over the gap. I usually just I'm usually walking in a direction, and then I jump while holding right, and I find that to be easier. But you got to do it a little bit before you think you should do it, otherwise you'll fall in the pit, because you think you can go all the way to the edge, but you'll just fall in and die. So you got to be careful with that, but you'll get it down once you've done it a few times. That Abobo can be dangerous, but I just stay near the edge of the bridge so I can get rid of him, because if I move any farther, then I'm going to have to deal with him and these knife guys. And there's several guys that come out, so it's better just to try to spawn one guy at a time if you can. For some reason that knife went through the guy. The game is strange like that. But yeah, everyone has to start somewhere as far as skill level. Nobody starts out playing, a great player. It just takes time. And no matter how good you get, you can always learn more and improve. So that's my attitude. I always feel like I can get so much better if I, learn to adapt better. And of course, your skill gets better. Your actual playing skill and reacting skill and all that gets better through anticipating things. But it's not just that. It's you learn to adapt a lot better too. So I think that's really useful. So yeah, here it can be tough because you're managing a lot of assholes at once, and the Bobos, you really have to start the elbow with a little distance between you and him, because see, that's what he'll abuse the shit out of that throw. So you got to be careful with that. And of course, the Bobo by the bridge, he will throw you into that water off the bridge as well. So that when dealing with him, also keep that in mind. But yeah, you want to get used to the spacing between the Bobos when you're doing the elbows. Always have a gap. The other guys, not so much, but the Bobos, you got to have a little bit of a gap when you start it. You see, you want them to like walk into it, but if you try to do it up close to them, you'll probably get thrown or punched, like that. So I decided to add in a few punches and kicks and fuck around, just because I wanted to make it a little bit interesting, because I know I've just been using the elbow. Since it's the end of the mission, I figured I'll fuck around a little bit. But I know when to stop playing with my food and go back to what works. As I said, I'm definitely about exploiting, games, AI, and stuff like that. I'll use whatever I can to beat a game. Aside from, I usually do limit myself to like game-breaking glitches, like as I mentioned in the previous video, God of War 2, where you can swim through the walls in midair. I mean, that's a little bit fucking insane for me. I don't really do that kind of shit. I think it's totally legitimate if you're doing a speed run by any means or something like that. That's legit under those conditions. But for me, I don't even do speed runs for the most part. I have done a few casual speed runs that I have on the channel, but I've never really done them. I am interested in trying some different things. Maybe one day I'll try some more speed runs or no damage runs and more specialized shit. That would be interesting to try. But I usually don't like to spend that much time with one game. Usually if I beat an extreme mode or a hard game, I'm usually pretty much done. And I want to move on to the next game because I go through so many fucking games. I'm pretty much like a mass murderer of games. You know what I mean? I'll go through tons and tons of games. Some of them are very easy, some of them are very hard. It's just a variety. And you'll see that on the channel. The longer the channel is up, eventually there'll be hundreds of playthroughs on the channel. Because with the practice technique I mentioned on with emulation, I talk about it in the Jim Power video, using save and load states to practice games and break them down, and learn them really efficiently without wasting time. And by doing that, I mean in a 2-year period, I had beaten something like 250 games, and most of those were old games, and it wasn't the only thing I was doing. So I mean, like I said, the channel, because of that, the channel really will fill up with a lot of playthroughs. I don't know. I mean, going forward, I can try to do commentary on all the shorter playthroughs, like these, or like the hour-long ones. All the older games probably. Maybe if it's an RPG, that'd be tough. That'd be a lot of work. But I'll start doing commentary on a lot of these playthroughs now. The newer games, I don't know if I'm gonna, unless it's a really hard game or a hard mode or something. I don't know if I'm gonna do commentary in every video. I don't really like doing commentary as I'm playing because I like to focus on the game. So I'm not really into doing live commentary as I'm playing, but I usually like what I'm doing here is adding the commentary after I finish the playthrough. That's probably what I'm going to do a lot of the time. But I'll experiment with different things. I may get more comfortable with it. I like to focus on the game. Now for this part, I stay on the bottom and I just keep jumping to the right. And I don't know if that slows the game down or what, but I found that to work. Now the spear I got lucky on. Usually, I think I probably usually get nailed by the spear. So I'm not sure if that's what usually gets me, but the next part definitely gets me most of the time. I somehow get past the double spears coming up next. And then I use this dynamite on this guy, which, not really, it's not really necessary. I mean, they don't take that many shots, but it kills them faster. Now this part, it looks like I'm actually trying to calculate how to move, but the reality is I have no fucking idea how to get through that, so I just got lucky on both of those parts, and that's what allowed me to finally do the 1 credit clear. I didn't even think I was going to get it because of these fucking traps. I really didn't think I was going to get the 1 credit clear. I just kept trying, and I just had a good run on this level. And like I said, I still really don't understand these traps at all. I'm like fucking clueless about them, but it was good enough. I got through, and I guess that's one area where persistence pays off, even if you don't always know what the fuck you're doing. If you keep at something long enough, you can eventually get through. Just grinding shit out, but this part can be really hard. You got slowdown and you got this narrow space. Like if you walk down too far, you fall into the spikes and die instantly. So this part's annoying. When you get cornered by these guys, they can really destroy you, as you see. It's hard to get out of that. And they can totally strip out your lives. So, luckily I did get out in time. And I try to line them up so that there's two, like that, both of them are together, so I can get them in one hit. That's what I try to do, but, it doesn't always work out that way. The hardest part is just not getting cornered and beat to death by these guys, mainly in this part. I mean, it's not super hard or anything, but really the hardest part for me, like I said, wasn't really a challenge. It was the bullshit of the traps, which was random for me because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So I don't know if you'd call that hard. It was just I got lucky, The rest of it is really not that bad combat-wise. I mean, you're just really lining up guys to your elbow. There's a lot of slowdown. You have a lot of time to react because of the slowdown. And the arcade version also has a lot of slowdown. I guess probably similar to on the emulator. So yeah, so I'm trying to line these guys up here, and I did waste some time after these guys fighting the green enemies that have your same moves, and they take a lot of hits. And you really don't have to fight them at all. I should have just ignored them. That would have been more efficient. But I didn't realize exactly how the spawning works. But basically how it works is just kill all the regular guys, ignore the green guys. You don't have to deal with them. So just kill the regular guys, and then the final boss will come out. So, and then you can continue ignoring the green guys and just kill the final boss. That's all you really have to do. And then for the, the final boss is simple, but he can be very dangerous, because if he fires his machine gun, you can't really give him any distance between you and him. Because if he fires that machine gun, I think it's a one-hit death or something like that, so that will kill you. But you're pretty much just going to be doing, aggressive elbowing. As soon as he gets up, try to elbow him as soon as he gets up. And you'll see what I do, and you just keep repeating that. And ignore the green guys if you can, and just focus on the boss. And, it won't take too long to kill him. And that's really about it. I mean, there's not really a lot to say about this playthrough. It's not like the Jim Power video where there was so much information to put out. I mean, this really isn't that hard of a run to do. This is probably one of the easier one-credit runs, I would think, for an arcade game, because arcade games are brutal usually. So if you're looking to do a one-credit arcade run, maybe start with this game and use these methods, It's just those fucking traps, man. That's the one thing I really can't give better advice on that, because I don't really understand them. I mean, at least it shows that if you play it enough, you may get lucky like me one time and get through eventually. So, I mean, it gives some hope, But I would say just try what I did, like staying on the bottom and just constantly jumping on the part with the moving walls in the beginning. Give that a try. See if that, because I noticed when I was doing that on several playthroughs, it seemed to work. Now, of course, I'm playing the arcade world set 1, so I would try to be consistent and play the same set that I'm playing, so you can. And then you'll probably get the same results by doing that. But it may also be very random. I may have just gotten lucky on my attempts, but it seemed to work. And that's it. Yeah, once you kill him, those guys will just leave. If you want to fuck around, you can still try to kill him, but there's really no point. But yeah, I'm going to do some more commentaries on some of the games that are not that hard, and I'll probably I think I want to do Streets of Rage 3 soon, because that was a very hard game, very hard beat 'em up. And maybe Hagane for Super Nintendo. There's definitely some I want to do soon, so stay tuned for those. And thank you for watching this.